There's a storm brewing in Tempe, Arizona. Tensions have been simmering. Tensions that would eventually erupt into the public view in a way that the city's leaders never saw coming. At the center of all of it is Austin, a local activist whose mission seemed simple enough: feed the homeless, offer dignity to the marginalized, and push back against the city's increasingly hostile treatment of its unhoused residents. What started as a small act of kindness would spiral into criminal charges, lawsuits, and allegations that reached the very top of Tempe's power structure. This isn't just a story about food or politics. It's a story about control. Who has it, who keeps it, and what happens when someone dares to challenge it.
My name's Austin Davis, and I am the founder of AZ Hugs for the Houseless, which is the homeless outreach program for Arizona Jews for Justice. AZ Hugs for the Houseless is Arizona Jews for Justice's homeless outreach program. And a big goal of ours is to provide the essential resources to those, experiencing homelessness, like the food, the water, the tents, but also to bring back a little dignity to people on the streets. A huge goal of ours is to be a friend to people. So we bring people special requests like their favorite meal or art supplies, musical instruments. I give people rides to see their mom, who they haven't seen in months, or to go to rehab. And it's just about showing people that they're not alone on the streets and they got some people on their side. This project started right when the pandemic did, really. I came back from tour. I just started going out to the Zone, which is the central tent city in Phoenix, with my friend Eddie. And we just started bringing people face masks and water because those were the direct needs, in March of 2020, I think. And from there, it just really grew because I started to make friendships with people. And we started to have these connections, and at the end of the day, a lot of these people feel like family to me, and you can't leave your family behind.
In 2024, Austin found himself standing on the wrong side of Tempe's legal system. Not because of violence, theft, fraud, or any crime, but because he had been handing out food to the homeless without the city's permission.
An update tonight on the founder of a nonprofit trying to help people experiencing homelessness in Tempe. He's facing serious consequences for defying the city.
The city says he's been hosting charity events in public parks even though he was denied a permit to do so. Now he has to appear in court. Casey Torres is live in the newsroom to explain. Casey, what's he been doing?
Well, the founder of the nonprofit has been hosting his charity events every week in Tempe parks, hoping to go under the radar from the city. But it didn't work. The city knows what he's been up to, and now they're taking him to court.
Morality does not always equate to legality.
Austin Davis is the founder of AZ Hugs, a nonprofit hosting Sunday family picnics every weekend in Tempe to feed people experiencing homelessness. A while back, he got word from the city that he couldn't host the picnics without a special event permit. He says he applied for one in December, but getting approved would take up to 60 days.
The most vulnerable in our population shouldn't have extra hurdles to jump over to meet their just simple daily needs.
For the past several weeks, he's been hosting picnics without a permit and switched up the locations to avoid getting in trouble. But we were at one of those picnics in Papago Park this month when police caught him and wrote up a report. Davis says it's happened a couple of times, and now the city tells us he will be cited and is due in court next month for a criminal arraignment.
I've been prepared for whatever ramifications.
To many in the community, this was unthinkable. Here was a man spending his own time, money, and energy to meet the basic needs of people who had nowhere else to turn. But to Tempe officials, Austin Davis had crossed an invisible line one that they believe allowed them to treat his humanitarian work as a criminal act. Now, it didn't matter that Arizona law doesn't outright ban feeding of the homeless. The city had its own local ordinances crafted in the name of public safety and sanitation, which required permits and compliance with certain location restrictions. In reality, these rules functioned as a wall, keeping grassroots aid workers from doing their jobs unless they bent to the city's oversight. Now, the charges against Austin might seem minor on paper, but the message is clear. Operating without the city's permission, and they will shut you down, even if it involves criminal charges.
Jim Freedom live on scene here at Tempe Papago Park. I'm going to do a little bit of live streaming just to show the state of the park and just walk through and make a few points. So, like, there's kids swinging on the swings over there, kids playing on the play set, kids under the Ramada resting, people over here at the dog park. Let's see if we can zoom in. Yeah, we can. So there's people at the dog park. There's people just hanging out at the benches, kids playing. So the park is not inaccessible. People just sitting by the lake, hanging out, having a good old day. And the people that don't have a home to go to at the end of the day are doing no different than anyone else, just hanging out. These people are all sitting here using this park that everyone's taxes pay for. Every time any one of these people buys a candy bar, they're helping pay for these facilities. So they should be allowed to use them like anybody else. And as I said, everybody is out here, not everybody, but there's plenty of people out here enjoying the park. And they're not being bothered by other people that just happened not to have a home to go to. They got trash bags all over the place. You can see right here on the poles, all over the place, way in the back. There's a couple on that Ramada over there. They've been setting trash bags up everywhere so that they can go around and clean up the park. And I am looking around. I feel like they did a pretty good job cleaning up the park. Look who showed up. Hey,
a warning, and so next time you know that you'll need you have to go through the city to get a permit.
That's exactly why you should never answer questions. And you know it. That's why you giggle. Trick people into incriminating themselves. That's a horrible way to live. You shouldn't have told them anything. You haven't committed a crime.
So it is a requirement then that you obtain a permit if you're going to provide any food or events in our parks or public places. So
Bastards.
containers over. So
Hey there, how you guys doing? Doing good. I'm awesome. Nice to meet you.
Excuse me, how far can I be near you while filming?
Preferably on the curb, but as long as you're safe, we're safe. I don't mind.
All right. I want to keep everything documented.
I told everybody at my party that I was bringing food, so I'll have to let them know about it. And all the information goes online. Okay, I just dropped off food. I didn't look up anything. Sounds great.
Sorry.
It's okay. Not you guys' fault. Austin,
Hey.
is this all you out here?
We have a private birthday party. 10 people
Okay,
coming
where
up
is
and
that
getting
at?
food. 10 people at a time. They're coming up and getting food. And then we have another private birthday party. 10 people at a time getting food.
Private birthday party?
Yeah.
Okay. So then the people that are walking from there to there, what does that mean?
After people get their food
Yeah.
in their group of 10, they disperse wherever they want. We're not telling people to
Okay.
sit here or there, do
Did
whatever they
you
want.
rent out the Ramada?
We did not rent out the room. No.
Okay.
But
you know that
Ramada's
there's a
not
time
rented.
Okay, but you know that you can only do that for 4 hours?
Yeah.
With the room. Okay. All right, well, private parties and not. I'm still seeing people walk in from all over the place.
Yep.
And then your van is parked on the other side. So We're doing this again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Gotta take the precautions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to, take any consequences.
Okay. Well, I'm going to document just like we have every time.
Totally.
Okay?
You just let me know.
Yep. May I ask, is there going to be a citation involved?
No, he has not received any citations from the city of
I
Tempe.
did last week.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you did not receive a citation, Austin. The
After
officer took a
cop
report.
Yeah, he said that he was sending it to prosecutor.
Right. Every time that we've come out here, it's been sent to the prosecutor.
He said he cited and everything. Give me a report number and all that stuff.
Every single time we've come out here. If you get a citation, that's something that you sign. You have not received a citation from us.
That's what he called it. It's called a citation.
Actually, I watched that body-worn camera video, and he did not say that.
Okay, well, what's the difference between
A
a report
citation
and a...
is like when we would either take you to jail or give you something that you sign that says that you have to, in lieu of. So you have not been given a citation.
Okay.
By
this is
anybody.
another situation that it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
This is kind of, if we can handle that real quick. Yeah, this is important.
Okay.
Okay.
You know you've been served then. Have you gotten that letter?
No.
In the mail? Okay. You'll be getting a letter.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
tried
see,
to call you on Friday, but
Email, you can just tell me, like, what the...
I haven't seen the letter. I just know that a letter will be sent to you on Friday. Was sent to you on Friday.
What is the letter say?
I think I'm not 100% sure I haven't seen the letter.
Okay.
So once I see it, I will
Serve like a court date? Or
No,
just
it's reference the status of your permit request.
They want you to stop.
Oh, no, yeah, they told me we didn't get the permit.
Okay, that's what that
Oh,
is.
that, yeah.
Okay, so they told you you didn't get the permit and you're still here?
Well, this is a private. We're doing a
It
private.
doesn't matter, private or public, right?
No, this is a private birthday party with.
There's more than 10 people. We've been watching for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So, okay.
Well, that's
You
just
want
what
the
we're
report
doing.
number for this one as well? Okay. What? Oh,
That's probably the biggest thing.
Now, these two right here are the biggest danger here. Believe that. Make no mistake about that.
No, I've met her before, and she's nice.
No,
She's doing her job.
she's a criminal. You know who else was just doing their job? People don't like to hear that, but it is true, and you know it. You can't get around the truth. If you're ordered to do something unethical, it's your job as a human being to ignore that order.
Appreciate you, brother. We can handle it. It's okay. Thank you, though. Thank you so much.
Ask you real quick.
The phone number here is going to be at the top. I'll put it all.
Hey, good morning. What you want to get back to number, right?
So it's the phone number to our records department. Okay. Any questions?
I got a simple question. Okay, so the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals have just ruled that this is totally legal. It's an expression of our First Amendment rights. How does a city code supersede our civil rights?
This is all going to go through the prosecutor's office. It doesn't go through us.
Okay.
I could answer that question if you want.
I was just asking her why they keep on coming out, and specifically him, because I've been to other feeds in Tempe where
There's
you
more than
guys-
one permit that has been submitted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Well, they denied the permit.
Yeah,
for us continuing to
so-
feed folks, but
Right.
that's basically right. You know.
So
yeah, that's
this isn't. I'm not the court, right?
right,
I have a city code. I'm here to say, hey, you're not supposed to do this,
right,
and that's where my role stops.
right.
I haven't arrested him. He hasn't been arrested. We haven't shut anything down. Every time we come out here, it's on body-worn camera. So our actions are all recorded.
I know.
So
No, I just had to ask that
Yeah.
question because maybe you guys might know something that we don't. You know, it really happens like that because I understand it's the 11th Circuit Court, but it's something that will supersede even in the 9th District, the 8th District, the 5th District, because it is a basic fundamental right to feed people.
you really can't deny people food. You're basically denying them livelihood. And if they can't eat, you're saying, oh, you're better off starving because you. So I was just asking for my personal reference.
Yeah. Double up for our parks, and then the decision will be made.
Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate it. So that's it.
Can I take a picture of the card that you gave me?
Yeah, I'd like to see that too if I could.
Yeah, let's take pictures. We will get tomorrow. Okay, just get some food on it.
Where?
Tomorrow, just let them get some food.
All right. Are you okay with that?
Is it okay with you?
Do you want to go get some food? Yeah. All right.
Inside Tempe's political circles, there's a name that comes up again and again when discussing behind-the-scenes influence: Rosa. She's not just a city figure, she's a known problem in the city. Someone who seems to operate in a gray space between official duties and personal leverage. It's alleged that Rosa has compromising information or dirt on the mayor and many of the other city council members, and that this is the reason for his unwavering support of her. The details remain in the realm of rumor and insider whispers, but the pattern is hard to ignore. Rosa gets what Rosa wants, and in Tempe, that kind of quiet power can be more dangerous than any political vote. Whether Austin was aware of these dynamics at first is unclear, but as his conflict with the city deepened, it became impossible to separate the personal politics from the public politics. Every move seemed connected, every council decision part of a larger strategy. When Austin pushed back legally, the city found itself in an uncomfortable territory. He wasn't just fighting his charges, he was challenging the constitutionality of Tempe's policies themselves.
The director of AZ Hugs, a nonprofit that provides food, aid, and other social services to the unhoused, filed a joint lawsuit Thursday against the city of Tempe over an ordinance he claims targets marginalized groups.
This ordinance is being used to limit access to, these basic human necessities. So, first and foremost, the goal is let's get this law invalidated so that they can't use it against other groups and this population again.
Austin Davis, the director of the Valley nonprofit, has been hosting Sunday meals for the unhoused since 2020.
He's got that big heart, and he's using that heart to help people, and what they're doing is absolutely just uncalled for.
But according to his lawyer, starting in the fall of 2022, Davis received 34 citations from the city for serving food at a park without a permit.
They've alleged that because these events are open to the public, no matter the size, no matter the scope, no matter the activity, in this instance food sharing, they require city permission and city permit.
Davis applied for the permit, but continued to serve the unhoused during the review process, which led to the citations, a plea deal with the city, and now a lawsuit.
He filed for the permit, and the permit was denied by the city, and so they started racking up criminal charges, and then eventually this lawsuit as well.
In a statement to ABC 15, the city of Tempe said while it has not yet been served with the lawsuit, we disagree with the allegations and stand ready to defend this long-standing law, adding that the city code requires a special event or other permit when an event is held utilizing city property, a requirement that has been in place for decades.
It really just felt like they were using this arbitrary permit review process as a way to halt access to these basic human necessities, access to food and water, for enough time where they could push the homeless population out to neighboring cities.
Also listed on the lawsuit is Jane Parker, who runs Hope, Arizona, and Ron Tapscott, who runs New Deal Meal. Tapscott has also been previously cited for similar reasons. Ben Brown for Arizona Tonight.
The lawsuit alleged that the city's restrictions on feeding the homeless were unconstitutional, violating the First Amendment's protections and punishing citizens for acts of compassion. This wasn't a radical argument. Similar cases across the country had already found such restrictions unlawful.
Bill's controversial homeless feeding ban is back in court after a federal appellate court invoking Jesus and Thanksgiving sided with a group of activists over the city. Here's Bob Norman with an interview with the mayor who says it's time for the city to help homeless people instead of fighting them.
When the city of Fort Lauderdale began arresting people for feeding the homeless 4 years ago,
cease the feeding and go take care of the officer.
the group Food Not Bombs argued the city's homeless feeding ban violated their right to protest. Member Jillian Pym.
We share food in protest of war and corporate greed because our country spends more than 50% of the taxes we pay on past, present, and future wars.
The group sued in federal court on First Amendment grounds, but a district judge quickly ruled against them.
They wouldn't even hear us. They just said no.
But Wednesday, the appellate court sided with Food Not Bombs, ruling the group's activity does fall under the First Amendment, and comparing what they do with some big names, including Jesus and Abraham Lincoln.
We made history. So exciting.
The appellate court, however, did not rule on the constitutionality of the city's feeding ban ordinance, kicking that issue back to the district court.
We have to go back to the drawing board. We must revisit this issue.
Mayor Dean Trantalis said it's time to stop fighting in court and stop fighting the homeless.
I think that the ordinance does not help either the city or the homeless, and I think that we need to reverse the ordinance and we need to restructure our whole approach to working with the homeless population.
2 years ago, the now 80-year-old Norma Thornton was taken into custody for feeding the homeless at a public park in Bullhead City. Turns out there's an ordinance against that, and even though the charges were dropped, Norma isn't dropping the case.
The U.S. District Court of Arizona dismissing a lawsuit against Bullhead City's food sharing ordinance.
Well, I think it's unfortunate.
Suran Jensen is an attorney with the Institute for Justice representing Norma Thornton. This is body cam video of her arrest in 2022.
You're under arrest.
I am?
Yes, for violating the city ordinance.
The then 78-year-old was cited for serving food to people experiencing homelessness at a city park. The city has an ordinance that makes it a misdemeanor to hand out meals in public parks without a permit. The city dropped Norma's charges, but she wanted to take things to federal court.
She believes that this ordinance is unconstitutional, and we have argued that it is for a variety of reasons.
Norma fought to overturn the city's rule. She believes it's putting a limit on her charitable efforts, so she continues to help people from an alley.
He was arrested 3 years ago for feeding the homeless. This week, Alfonso Hernandez settled with the city of Albuquerque and was awarded tens of thousands of dollars. New at 10, Action 7 reporter Melissa Colorado joins us with more.
And Doug and Shelley, believe it or not, but you can get arrested for feeding the homeless. It happened to one man, Alfonso Hernandez, and after he filed a civil lawsuit, the city is now shelling out $45,000 of your taxpayer money to him. Alfonso Hernandez took this mugshot not for a violent crime, but for filling empty stomachs.
Uncut, unpeeled fruit. And that's not illegal.
Back in 2010, Hernandez was on 4th and Central, also known as the 4th Street Mall, where he and other volunteers would regularly feed the needy. Albuquerque police arrested Hernandez for serving food without a permit.
I was assaulted 4 times in that one day.
A Metro Court judge dismissed the charge because there is no law that requires a permit to feed the hungry if there is no profit to be made. Hernandez then filed a civil lawsuit against the city, claiming that APD maliciously prosecuted him and infringed on his constitutional rights.
They got off easy because not only that, they violated our civil rights, our duty to serve the population here.
The city is awarding Hernandez $45,000. Hernandez says he was never out to get rich, but to prove a point and stand up for his rights.
It is about money. It's about the love of money, but not on my part.
We reached out to the city. A spokesperson for Mayor Richard Berry says while the mayor understands that nearby business owners are worried about homeless people coming together, being fed, and disrupting their business, the mayor will continue working to strike a balance between the needs of those who serve the homeless and the small business community. And Alfonso Hernandez tells me the settlement is not changing his Sunday routine. You can still find him this coming Sunday on Central and 4th, feeding the needy. Doug, back to you.
2 other people were arrested during the same homeless outreach event. They also settled with the city for $40,000.
And yet, instead of backing down or negotiating a reasonable settlement, Tempe doubled down. The legal fight became a test of will. Austin on one side, and the city's entire machinery on the other. But Austin's standing strong. Then, in the middle of Austin's lawsuit with the city of Tempe, something extraordinarily stupid happened on the city's part. On July 1st, 2025, the City Council gathered for a late-night meeting that would stretch into the early hours of the morning. On the agenda was an ordinance, a sweeping new rule that would require a city permit for any gathering of 30 people or more on city property. But it doesn't stop there. The ordinance also applied to private property if its use didn't match its designated purpose or if it required additional city services. Critics immediately warned that this could be applied in dangerously broad ways, including shutting down events like Austin's food distribution, which is the intended target, his events, and any that might sprout from his in the future. What made the move more shocking was the city attorney's candid admission. The ordinance was being rushed through specifically because of the ongoing litigation. In other words, Tempe wasn't hiding its intentions. They were openly changing the rules mid-game to make their legal position stronger. Despite heavy public opposition during the meeting, with speaker after speaker warning that the ordinance was unconstitutional and overreaching, the council voted unanimously to pass it.
Nonprofits have been providing food, clothing, and other services to folks in need at Valley Parks. But their efforts to help the homeless may soon become more difficult in the city of Tempe after the city council approved new restrictions on public events. 3 times a week, the nonprofit Cloud Covered Streets shows up in a different Valley city to help the homeless. They provide food, free showers, laundry service, even a haircut and shave.
I think it just means being treated like a human again. I hear a lot of them, after you give them their haircut, that's what they say. They're like, I feel human again.
But the group's founder, Robert Thornton, is now worried they won't be welcome in Tempe anymore after the city council passed a new ordinance that places new restrictions on permits and public events. One of the new rules requires gatherings of 30 people or more obtain a potentially costly special events permit that Thornton worries could prevent groups like his from helping people in that community.
It's just frustrating that the city of Tempe is trying to stop a service that, they don't provide and we're providing that is so necessary for all of our friends that are experiencing homelessness.
I can't help but believe that the homeless are being discriminated against in Tempe.
During Tuesday night's Tempe City Council meeting, which lasted past 1 in the morning, more than 75 people stood up during the public comment period to speak out against the new ordinance, raising concerns that it would hinder community outreach programs and give city officials the discretion to deny permits to organizations they don't like.
Create a permitting system that we thought was actually fair and much more streamlined.
Tempe Mayor Corey Woods insists the changes to their events ordinance has nothing to do with cracking down on the homeless and nonprofits. He says the regulations haven't been updated since the 1960s, and it was time to create a system to reserve city park space that was easier to navigate.
As the ordinance backlash grew, the Phoenix New Times broke a story that would throw gasoline on this already dumpster fire. According to allegations made by a police officer with the Tempe Police Department, the Tempe's chief of police had been illegally accessing and sharing criminal history information with members of the city council. This is a direct violation of Arizona Revised Statute 41-1756, Arizona's law against unauthorized access to criminal data. And if that's true, this was more than just a breach of trust, it's a felony. And in the context of Austin's fight with the city, it raises deep and troubling questions. Was the police department using private criminal records to aid the city and political allies? Or was this part of a coordinated campaign to intimidate or discredit activists like Austin? The story instantly became a political scandal, with the potential to unravel not just a lawsuit, but the city's own internal alliances and leadership.
Transparency. It's all about trust. That's the message Tempe's new police chief, Ken McCoy, kept saying over and over again during a one-on-one interview with Arizona's Family Thursday. Trust with the men and women who wear the badge, trust with members of the community.
It only takes one incident anywhere in the United States with law enforcement for that trust to erode.
Now the narrative is starting to shift. This isn't just about one activist feeding the homeless. It's about the way the city uses its power. It's about the shady alliances between politicians and the influence of unaccountable insiders like Rosa, and the willingness to bend or break the rules to protect that power. Tempe's public image as a progressive, People First City is beginning to crack, revealing a more complicated and troubling reality. Now, I've been following this story for a while, and this is just a warm-up video to a much longer and comprehensive documentary that I'm working on about this whole situation. So if this piqued your interest, the one that I'm going to make after this is going to be much more detailed and longer. I hope you enjoy that kind of thing.